Board meeting of December 9th is now in session. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. If anybody has missed the notice that was put up on the screen, the Dominican College application will not be heard tonight. It has been, they asked for a postponement until January 13th. So if you're here for the Dominican College, it will not be heard. Okay, let me do roll call. Okay, Thomas Warren, I'm here. Mr. Young. Present. Okay, Mr. Young, thank you, sir. Mr. Mandel.
Here.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Sweeney.
Here.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Dell.
Here.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Andrews.
Here.
Thank you, sir. Mr. McCory.
Here.
Thank you very much. Mr. Bond.
I'm here and I'm not voting, right?
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, very good. Okay, the first item for business is PB 20-51, 814 Route 9W site plan. Is anybody here for that?
Right.
I don't hear anybody. Yeah, we don't hear you.
Okay.
I see your mic. It says your mic is on, but we don't hear anything.
He's adjusting, Mr. Chairman. Let's see if he can figure that out.
Yep. No, don't hear you. Try it.
Any better?
Yeah, I think so. Try it again.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Okay,
Is
there's
it
a
working
delay
now?
in it, but we'll work around that.
Okay, sorry about that. I'll try and talk slowly here.
Okay, you want to go ahead
so-
and describe your application, please?
All right, so this is a proposed site civil work at 814 Route 9W. The site is comprised of an existing single-family residence, a structure, pool, and driveway. The scope of work is the replacement of an existing septic system and the augmentation, reconfiguration of a portion of the existing driveway to alleviate the steep slope toward the base of that driveway. The septic system is being replaced due to failure of the existing system. The driveway is to be reconfigured to reduce the slope as much as possible toward the road end of the driveway. We're in conjunction with that, we're proposing a retaining wall to allow for the driveway reconfiguration. Along with the removal of a portion of existing garage structure, just to extend that driveway as much as possible to alleviate the slope. Several trees, as noted on the proposed plan, will be removed, including trees within the footprint of the new retaining wall construction. We've been to the board, the Zoning Board of Appeals. We've received approval from them for the reduction in the driveway slope or reducing the slope, but it is still non-conforming. We've received approval from ZBA for that slope.
Yeah.
We've also gone through.
Excuse me just a second.
Okay, thank you.
Somebody, you're on, you got your microphone open. Please shut it off so we can continue. I'm sorry, sir. Go ahead.
All right, the last component here is we've gone through Akabor. We've received approval through Akabor for the finish of the proposed concrete block wall. It's a prefabricated concrete unit block retaining wall. And so we're back in front of you guys for final.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me go through the consultants reports. Jane Slavin, December 7th. Yeah, we got a return. Could you do me a favor? Could you shut your mic off because it's coming back and it's being repeated? Okay, thank you. Let's try that. I don't know if it'll work or not. Okay, Jane Slavin, December 7th. She has one comment. Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, Bruce Peters, December 8th. They have one comment. the Rockland County Department of Planning, October 20th. They have 9 comments. I also have a correspondent from Rockland County. Who the heck is this? This is from, I can't make it out because it's written over it. Rockland County Division of Environmental Services. No further correspondence to be sent to this agent. Cheryl, have we read in the November 13th comments?
This is, I don't know. Hold on a second.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I take it back because I'm just looking. It's a different application. I'm sorry. That's it. Okay. I got messed up. I'm sorry. Okay, thank you very much. That's all the consultant's report. Gonna open it up to the board now. Mr. Young?
I have just one comment. This is the property where we're going to take down part of the garage. Is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. That's all I had, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mandel?
Yeah, just one question for clarification. DEME number 1, which is dated December 8th, 2020, still puts in there the driveway should be designed to show a 3% grade for the first 50 feet. ZBA 20-14, which is previous to that, 21920, approved the grade variance. Does this negate what we said in our decision on 11/13/19, number 6, and the DEME number 1 comment?
Do you have an answer for that?
Is that directed to me? I'm sorry.
Could be him or the town attorney, just to clarify.
My position is absolutely. We've conformed as much as possible. That was kind of the whole point of this driveway reconfiguration, is to conform as much as possible with slope requirements, but we still did have to go to ZBA. They approved what we did, which is, again, as much as possible.
That's tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Okay, no problem. We'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, Mr. Mandel?
Yeah, no, I'm asking for a clarification. So the planning board decision, the previous decision of February 19, 2020, ZBA 20-14 overrides our decision of 11/13/19, number 6, and Bruce Peters' December 8th memo, condition number 1. This is looking for the clarification on that. They seem to contradict each other. For the record.
If the ZBA granted the variance, I think that does take precedence.
Thanks, Rick.
Okay,
That's all, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
thank you, Mr. Mandel. Mr. Sweeney?
Thank you. I have no further comments on this project.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Dell?
No further comments. My questions were answered with Mr. Mendel's questions. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
sir. Thank you. Mr. Andrews?
I have no comments at this time.
Okay, thank you. Mr. McCory?
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, just to follow up with Mr. Mandel's question, it also comes into play with the Rockland Planning condition number 9. So I guess we got to clarify when we give conditions that it affects Rockland Planning and the Department of Environmental Management of Engineering, because they're saying they're still looking for a variance is required. What the application and it's a town's position that they did get the variance?
Well, it says that the variance was granted by the ZBA on February 19th.
Oh, on the Rockland Planning condition number 9. All right. I guess it says that this must be updated and indicated on the plans, I guess. But that's the only thing. That's the only question it seems like is that variance good? And if it is, I don't see any problems with this. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Bond?
No, I have no questions.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to open it up to the public. If anyone from the public wishes to speak on this. One more time, does anybody from the public wish to speak on this application? All right,
Chairman, I don't see any.
thank you. Okay, hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to close the public session.
Motion to close public session, Mr. Mandel.
Mr. Mandel, do I have a second?
Mr. Andrews,
Young
second.
second.
Mr. Andrews, second. Okay, fine. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? None. Okay. They're in for final, so I think we have to reaffirm CEQA. Do I have a motion to reaffirm CEQA?
Motion to reconfirm secret.
Mr. Mandel makes the motion to reaffirm CEQA. Do I have a second?
Mr. Andrews, seconds.
Mr. Andrews, second. Thank you very much. Okay, can I have a motion for final with conditions?
Need a vote.
Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you, Mr. Mandel. All in favor of reaffirming CEQA? Okay, any opposition? Okay, none. Thank you very much. Okay, can I have a motion for final with conditions?
Motion for final with conditions.
Mr. Mandel, okay, the conditions are Jane Slavin, December 7th, 1. Bruce Peters, Department of Environmental Management, dated December 8th, 1. Rockland County Department of Planning, October 20th. They have 9. And that is all. Okay, do I have a second?
Young seconds.
Mr. Young seconds. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No opposition. Sir, you got your final.
Thank you very much. You guys have a good night. Take care.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Take care.
Next one
New Year.
is Hawkview subdivision, PB 20-52. Is anybody here from Hawk subdivision, Hawk's View?
Jay Greenwell, Mr. Chairman.
Hi, hello, sir. How you doing?
Hi, how are you?
All right. Jay, you want to explain your application?
Sure. This is an application for a new single-family home in the R22 zone. This is Lot 4 of the Hawksview subdivision, which has been approved by the planning board. This site plan has to come before you for critical environmental area. We got preliminary from this board, and we've been through the architectural review board, and we've addressed many of the comments that were raised at the preliminary approval, including additional landscaping at the northerly property line, the staked hay bales, which was a concern that was raised because it's at the top of the slope. We have completed the perk tests with the permission of the DEME to be done right after there was a period of heavy rain. Demonstrates a very good infiltration rate, much better than was per the assumed rate on the drainage report, which means that there will be excess capacity in the system. We revised many of the conditions for the drainage raised by DEME and by Brooker Engineering, which included revisions to the level spreaders to make sure that none of the drainage went off-site in a damaging, concentrated way so that nobody downslope would be injured by it. and that the runoff would be spread over a wider area, just similar to the natural condition that exists now. I believe we've addressed the bulk of the comments, and there are a couple of more conditions which you're going to raise when you read the memo.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Before I read the comments on this, I know some new people have come on to the meeting. I want to repeat it, that the Dominican College Athletic Complex will not be heard tonight. They've asked for a continuation until January 13th. So if you are here for the Dominican College, won't be heard. So Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Okay, to continue on with us, with the Hawksville, I'll read the comments now. Jane Slavin, December 7th. She has one comment. Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, Bruce Peters has one comment. Booker Engineering, December 8th. The applicant has provided significant information to demonstrate that potential significant adverse impacts with respect to drainage can be mitigated. Therefore, recommend that the Hawksview site plan for lot 22.1 be approved for drainage subject to the above project comments, of which there are 7. Rockland County Planning, December 3rd. They have 9 comments.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
the comment number 9 is a repetition of a comment that they had made at preliminary. And I would respectfully request an override. They indicated that the site plan is difficult to read as provided. Separate sheets should be provided. No one else seems to be having a problem in reviewing this. You know, it's been reviewed by the county health department and approved for septics and wells. It's been reviewed by the DEC. It's been reviewed by ACABOR, been reviewed by your board. I think they must be having a problem reading a PDF or a small computer screen or something like that. We did make it on a bigger sheet when we added more details. I would ask for an override of number 9.
Jay, let me ask you a question. If the were to be left in, it's really not going to provide, it's not going to be an issue for you because, like you said, most people can read it. So if there is a problem, I don't know. What's the board feel? Does the board feel, or Ms. Slavin, what do you feel on this?
I didn't have any issues reading the plan, so I'm not sure why that comment's in there. Again, maybe Jay's correct that they just did not have a clear copy of it for whatever reason, whether they're viewing it on the screen or the printout that they had was not clear. But I'm looking at the plan right now, a hard copy, and I can see it clearly. So I'm not sure why it's an issue.
Okay. An
Mr.
issue.
Chair, my only concern is if you leave it in, then I would be forced to create additional sheets and change the plan
Okay.
around.
Okay, I understand. Okay, I understand.
Thank you.
I'm asking for a motion to override Rockland County Department of Planning, December 3rd, letter number 9. Do I have a
I'll make
motion?
the motion. Andrews.
Okay, Mr. Young makes the motion. Do I have a
I'll
second?
second.
Who
Andrews.
was that? I'm sorry.
Andrews seconds.
Mr. Andrews seconds. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed to the override? Okay, no opposition to the override. Okay, so we're overriding number 9 of Rockland County Planning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Rockland Highway, November 13th. They have 2.
No objection, except I would just like the record noted that the strip of area is referred to in number 1. That gratuitous dedication of the road widening has already taken place. So the issue is moot.
Okay, well, we'll just leave it there anyway. So if it's mute, it doesn't mean anything. Okay. Rockland County Health, August 18th. They have, yeah, they have 5 comments.
The 5 comments in that memo are simply an acknowledgement of an approval for the septic system.
Okay, thank you, sir. I have a letter from Constantina Pasilla. I think she's from New York State. Yeah. And it's just a letter which is dated November 12th. I have another letter, I think it's a reply from Mr. Greenwell. That letter to December 7th.
Just let me summarize this briefly. The DEC had reviewed this plan when we did the subdivision. And there was a concern because at some point, the PIP actually owned this property.
Okay, Jay, you're breaking up a little bit. Jay, you're breaking up a little bit?
Sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
We had addressed these conditions previously. There's been a changing of the guard at the DEC, and I was writing to them to let them know that those conditions had been previously discussed and eliminated.
Right. Okay, thank you. Letter from New York Department of Environmental Conservation, Catherine Coffin, dated July 27th. Again, they're talking about the contamination concerns on the site, which there are none. Let's see. Got a letter from Sean Keenan. Is that right? Yes. Is that it also? Yeah, Hawksview. Sean Keenan, dated December 7th. A letter from Dr. Alan Rosenfeld, dated December 6th. He also enclosed some pictures. And I have, I think that's it. Let me just look real quick at another file. I have Akabor's decision. And I have planning board decision. Okay, Cheryl, is there anything else?
That's it.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'm gonna open it up to the board. Mr. Young?
No comments, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Mandel?
Yeah, just to clarify one of the comments made by one of the letter writers, and I'm looking at the chart here. Septic, the absorption beds for the septic tank are right on Southern Boulevard, correct?
Yes, as I'm concerned, my sound is breaking up. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Just tell me, yes, they're located on Southern Boulevard? And
The septic system is shown in the front of the property, and the grade in that area is towards the street, not towards Mr. Rosenfeld's property.
Okay, and the septic tank itself should be, that would be next to lot number 3 of the development there?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
Okay,
Question?
the pump chamber, the septic tank, they're located right next to lot 3 of that development?
Yes, they are up to the top of they're at the top of the hill, but the grade from the septic is towards the road, not towards the back.
Okay,
There will be
thank
no overflow down gradient.
yeah, I just wanted to clarify that for the person who wrote the letter. I can see it on the chart here. And thank you for the landscape plan that we asked for.
The doctor that wrote the letter, his house is about 550 feet down a steeply wooded area downhill. He's concerned, I understand, that there would be some flow from uphill, but there won't. There won't be any additional flow as been satisfied by DEME and broker engineering, and making us make changes to the level spreaders and any flow that was coming off the site.
Thank you, Mr. Greenwald.
Thank you, Mr. Mandel. Mr. Sweeney?
Yes, thank you. I have no questions or comments at this time.
Thank you very much. Mr. Dell?
Thank you, sir. I think the applicant has done a good job by putting in the requested hay bales in addition to the silt fence. That should protect Dr. Rosenfeld's property and also the extra trees. I think it should be said for the record that the property does not extend all the way down. As such, there's not much point for a conservation easement. And then if anything was done in any of those areas, that would require additional permits. One thing I think is sort of ironic, we have quite a bit in for the DEC. They're talking about protecting sturgeon, et cetera, which is a very valuable resource and something we all concerned with. But the name of the property is Hawksview, and there's no mention of hawks. But this is how it is. I just wish they would give us less boilerplate and more useful information. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Dell. Mr. Andrews?
I have no comments at this time. Looks pretty good from here.
Thank you, sir. Mr. McCory?
Oh, thank you, Chairman. Yeah, it looks like the neighbors' concerns were addressed with, I'm looking at the plans and, the septic tanks are level, if not pitched towards the front of the house. And then I think there was concern about a discharge pipe, and we got some grainy photos of that. I don't know if Jay can just address that quick, but some kind of, he was concerned there was discharge coming out of a green pipe in the back, and I don't know if it's part of the record, but we got pictures of it sent to us.
My understanding from the owner and applicant, Mr. Keenan, is that that was a temporary pipe for dewatering a small section where there was a ponding back during construction on, and I believe it was on lot 1. That lot has been constructed, completed, and as built, a CO has been issued. So it's not a part of this lot, and it's not part of any discharge coming through that pipe.
All right. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Green. Just wanted to clear that up with the, so we can address all the neighbors' concerns. And that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Bond?
No, it looks good to me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to open it up to the public. Does anybody from the public wish any questions or comments on this application? Again, and I'm opening up to the public. Does anybody wish to make any questions or comments on this application? All right, hearing none. Yes, Ms. Slavin.
I see none, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to ask for a motion to close the public session. Mr. Mandel.
Motion to close public session.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a second?
Mr. Andrews seconds.
Mr. Andrews, thank you very much. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition to closing the public session? Seeing none, the public session is closed. Okay. I hear somebody. Yeah, no, okay. It's a reverberation. Mr. Mandel, shut your mic off. Thank you, sir. Okay. Okay, so this is in for finals, so I'm going to ask for motion to reaffirm CEQA.
Motion to reaffirm CEQA.
Mr. Mandel, do I have a second?
Young seconds.
Young seconds. Thank you very much. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, seeing none. Okay, we reaffirm CEQA. Okay, do I have a motion for final with conditions?
Motion for final with conditions.
Mr. Mandel, thank you, sir. And the conditions are Jane Slavin, December 7th, at 1. Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, December 8th, Bruce Peters has 1. Booker Engineering, December 8th, has 7. Rockland County Department of Planning, December 3rd, they have 9. But we've overridden, I take it back, they have 8 because we overrode number 9. Okay, Rockland County Department of Highways, November 13th. They have 2. Rockland County Health, August 18th, 2020 has 5. And I believe that is it. Okay, do I have a second?
Andrew seconds.
Mr. Andrews seconds. Oh, thank you. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Seeing no opposition. Thank you. Mr. Greenwell, Jay, you have your final. Thank you. Jay? All right,
I'll text him, Mr. Chairman.
yeah, I don't know. He doesn't hear me.
Yeah,
And his
he
mic-
obviously was having some, yeah, he was obviously having some technical issues, so I will send him a message and check.
Okay, he might be waiting. What does he say? My mic is dead. Okay. All right, he got it.
He got the chat message. We're all good. Thanks, Jay.
Okay, very good. Okay, next application is PB 20-53 Lander Meyer subdivision plan. This is in for a final subdivision plan. Do we have anybody from Lander?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, Mr. Brenner.
Right. This subdivision has been before the planning board, the zoning board, the architecture review board, and we're now here for final. It's a land division. When and if the lot is going to be developed, they will have to come back and be reviewed. We're strictly here for a land division, and we'd like final tonight if possible.
Thank you, sir. I'll read the comments in. Okay, James Slavin, December 8th. He has 2. Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, Bruce Peters, December 8th. He has 2. Booker Engineering, December 9th. The proposed application provides required information that demonstrates potential impacts with respect to drainage can be mitigated. We therefore recommend that the Landers subdivision be approved for drainage subject to the above project comments, of which there are 4. Rockland County Planning, November 10th. They have 6 comments. Rockland County Sewer District Number 1, December 2nd. They have a total of 9. Okay. Then we have a letter from Town of Clarkstown, Department of Planning, December 12th, 2019. Clarkstown Planning Board does hereby deem the matter to be local determination. Okay, I have a letter from the Town of Orangetown, Office of Recreation and Parks, December 9th. In review of PB 20-53, the Town of Orangetown Parks and Recreation Department recommends pursuant to Orangetown Zoning Code, Section 21-20.E, that the planning board waiver the requirements for the reservation of parkland and conditional approval on a payment of $9,000 in lieu of parklands. Okay, that's all I have. Cheryl, anything else?
That's it.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to open it up to the board. Mr. Young.
No comments, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mandel.
Just a quick question. Did you receive the approval from the town board for the out-of-district sewer hookup?
The letter was with town board right now. The letter is also with the county, Rockland County Sewer District Number 1. This project will not be able to go forward until both agreements are made.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Sweeney?
Thank you. As I've stated previously, when it first came up, I don't love the idea of putting the flag lot in with the property behind the house. But it's gone through preliminary, it's gone through approvals, and I'll wait to hear what anyone in the public has to say before I make judgment.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Dell?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I noticed the lot needs no variances, and the lot proposed is really twice the required size for any lot. It is a particularly beautiful lot with a lot of major trees. And I want to say emphatically that none of those trees should be removed until such time as we come back to see what's being proposed. But other than that, sir, I have no problems with it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Andrews?
I have nothing at this time.
Thank you, sir. Mr. McCory?
Thank you, Chairman. Just to clarify, this is just a land subdivision. Do the 9 comments from the sewer district come into play tonight? It looks like there's a lot of problems with the sewer hookups. Does that come into play with just the land division tonight, Chairman?
Oh, it will come into play. We have to resolve that problem before we file the map.
All right, but tonight we're just voting on
Just final land subdivision, that's correct.
subdivision. So all these conditions won't come into play tonight?
Well, I would suggest that you add the condition as part of final.
All right, that's a lot of conditions. I just want to clarify that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Bond?
No, I have no questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to open it up to the public. Anybody from the public wish to speak on this project?
Yeah, my name is Thomas Tekikunel. I live next to the property, which is on the map is property number 27. I just have a question. There's a gap between the trees. You know, if you look at the tree number 8 and the street, are they going to put any more trees on this side?
That will have to be resolved when the lot comes back for development. Right now, it's just a land division.
Okay, thank you. I don't.
Very good. Okay. Anybody else wish to speak on this project? No? Okay, do I have a motion to close the public session?
Motion to close public session.
Mr. Mandel, do I have a second?
Mr. Andrews seconds.
Mr. Andrews seconds. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? No, nobody opposed. Okay, thank you very much. This is a final on the subdivision plan. So I want a motion to reaffirm CEQA, please.
Motion to reaffirm CEQA.
Mr. Mandel, thank you very much. Do I have a second?
Young seconds.
Mr. Young seconds. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No opposition. Okay, thank you. Okay, so this is, do I have a motion for final with conditions?
Motion for final with conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Mandel. Okay, Jane Slavin, December 7th letters. She has 2 comments. Bruce Peters, Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, September 8th, 2 comments. Brooker Engineering, December 9th. They have 4 comments. Department of Planning, Rockland County, November 10th. They have 6 comments. Rockland County Sewer District Number 1, December 2nd. They have 9 comments. Okay. And I also have the Town of Orangetown Office of Recreation and Parks, dated December 7th by Eric Gordon, referring to monies in lieu of parkland. And that's all I have. Do I have a second?
Young seconds.
Okay, Mr. Young seconds. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No, no opposition. Mr. Brenner, you got your final.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Okay, next one is skate training, which is PB 20-54. Anybody here for that?
Yes, I am here,
Oh, Mr. Brenner. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
and Mr. Skay, I believe, is here too, who's the owner of the property. This project has been around for a while. We have gone to the planning board, we've got approval, we've gone to the zoning board, we've got our variances, we've gone to Akabor. We are now here for final. It's been around for a long time, and we're looking for final tonight.
Thank you very much, sir. All right, I'll read the consultant's reports. Jane Slavin, December 7th. She has 2. Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, Bruce Peters, December 8th. He has 4. Booker Engineering, December 8th. Significant detail and drainage calculations have been provided to demonstrate that potential significant impacts with respect to drainage can be mitigated. We therefore recommend that the skate pole barn addition site plan be approved for drainage subject to the above conditions, of which there are 5. Okay, Rockland County Department of Planning, November 6th. They have 7. And I have a letter from Rockland County Highway Department. It says no comments at this time. And that's all I have. Cheryl, is there anything else?
You have the decisions, the Architects Review Board, the Planning Board Preliminary, and the Zoning Board.
Yes, I do. Okay, I'm sorry. Yep. Okay. Open up to the board. Mr. Young,
No comments, Mr. Chairman.
thank you, sir. Mr. Mandel.
Yes, thank you. Regarding Rockland County planning, I'm looking at their page 2 of 6 of their submitted plans. And it shows on page 2 of the site plan, you show trees on the southern portion by the underground detention system. What type of tree are they, and what's the height going to be on those?
Mr. Skay, you here?
Yeah, I'm here. I don't have the greatest of technology with me, so I'm not exactly sure which trees you're talking about. You're talking about the new evergreens that we're showing going on a berm along the New Jersey residence house?
That's the one.
Yeah,
Those are the
that's
evergreens.
correct.
Yeah, they are going to be, we actually, just trying to be good neighbors to the people in the south, put a bunch of Norway spruce there, and we'll continue with Norway spruce or go to some other type of evergreen tree. We've have a significant problem in that area with wildlife, particularly deer eating trees, because we created a bunch of wetlands in the back there for the Army Corps. So the Norway spruce have worked well for us, and the neighbors like them.
What's the height on the trees you're going to plant?
At the moment, the trees that are there are 6 feet.
So is that the height of the trees that you're going to plant?
Yes.
Condition. Now, Rockland County number 7 says A landscaping plan, which you provided here, a slow evergreen landscaping supplementing the area border of the neighboring residential area to block the headlights. So we're talking about further going east on the property. You go east, you come up to the parking area and the turnaround area. And I don't see any plantings there that would shield the private properties from the headlights of the cars as required or requested by Rockland County Planning. Can you clarify what your position is there?
Well, my position is the neighbor at the easternmost side of the property actually has a probably a 6-foot solid wooden fence. So you can't see through at all on his property. You know, if we wanted to plant some type of, you know, evergreen or something on our side, we could, but he won't see it because he has a solid wooden fence there now.
Okay, now talking about, are you talking about this, now what about any properties on the west side? The east side, I'm sorry, the east side.
Yeah, on the east side, that's where the fence is. As you go further west, it's going to be back beyond the building. So there's going to be no headlights or no parking or anything back there.
Okay, so on the east side, you're saying that there's a fence along that east side of the property with the neighboring?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, now on the south side, when you look at the bottom of the parking area, which on the map, it's right on the state line there.
Correct.
What's the condition of the site there as far as fencing?
On the south side of the property,
Right, by the
wooden,
parking area.
yeah, the wooden fence continues along that same path and goes for the entire first property, is also a solid wooden fence.
Okay.
I think they were trying to block a view of the camp, which is just beyond us. So
All right, yeah.
several of
Yeah.
those neighbors have done that.
Where exactly is the entrance to your property?
Well, that's what's interesting is it's on the same access road as the camp. So it's just before you get to the camp, there's a gate that opens and that's where the entrance to our property is.
Because I passed the camp, I passed everything around the area in Jersey and everything, and I could not find that entrance. Was that entrance closed?
Yeah, there's a gate that's closed because I try to keep kids out of there from riding dirt bikes, which has been the problem.
All righty, thank you. No
Thank you.
further at this time.
Okay, Mr. Sweeney.
Thank you. With all that said, I have no other questions at this time.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Dell.
Thank you, sir. On a follow-up of what Mr. Mandel was saying, I don't think the onus of the screening should fall upon the homeowner in case there's a problem with the fence. There is a possibility you could put some smaller trees in that area by the ends of the driveway area and that little turnaround area. Would be done fairly cheaply and would eventually establish themselves. And I would like to see that put in. Other than that, I have no problems with the application.
Okay, thank
Does
you.
the applicant have any comments about that?
No, we would be happy to do that. I just have to get, you know, some type of landscaper to explain to me how far away we should keep them from the fence to make sure they grow.
All right, so can you give me a distance or how many plants you'd be putting in there? It's just something we can throw in the decision.
I would need a landscape architect to tell me because if I just randomly said it, I'd put them in there and they would all die. I know nothing about landscaping, right? So I really don't know how far they need to be spaced. But you can say that I have to establish a complete screen, however you want to write it. I'm happy to do whatever landscaping I need to.
Okay, now this is only obviously one person's opinion, but I've been doing it for some time. And I'm sure the board appreciates your willingness to protect the neighbors. And I think it would be a small expense overall, but long-term, it might turn out to be quite considerable if something were to happen to the neighbor's fence. You've done your due diligence. Thank you very much, sir.
I'm very happy to do it. You'll see in the front at the gym, we planted Leyland cypress along the south side for the same reason, because the neighbors asked. It was never required. It was never on a site plan. So.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Andrews.
I have no further comments at this time.
Thank you, sir. Mr. McCory?
Thank you, Chairman. I also agree that the landscaper should continue all the way down the property line to protect the neighbors. Looks like you did a good job protecting one of the neighbors with screening, but I'd like to see that continue all the way down. I mean, you're bringing the parking lot 13 feet from the property line, so that'd be a good thing to do. I'd like to see that before I can agree with this plan. And, it looks like you're squeezing a lot into the smallest part of your property there, so it is a tight spot. So the more screening, the better for me. And just Rockland Department of Planning, number 6. I don't know if anybody brought that up, but it says a lighting plan shall be provided. Is that, are we gonna get that?
That was provided. We provided a complete lighting plan.
Does anybody, other board members have it? I don't think I got it.
Well, it's normally not a procedure or a requirement. We just did it when we went to the boards to show that we were going to have a light on the building, which I think was going to be signaled. And remember, this is an area which is not going to be actively used. In fact, it's very passively used. I doubt even if it's going to be used that much at night. And but if they want that, we will reaffirm what we said.
Don, we did do a lighting plan and gave it to Akabar, and it was reviewed and approved. I apologize if I didn't print it as part of the set for final approval. It didn't come up in the first planning board. I didn't know you guys wanted to look at the lighting as well, like Akabar did. I just hope with all due respect.
That's right.
Yeah. With all due respect, this is literally 5 years trying to get this approved. So this is crazy. So if I need a lighting plan, I'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, the planning board is in charge of exterior lighting, so we do it kind of like as part of our due diligence review. But yeah, I'd like to see the lighting plan and more screening down at the southern end, because it's a tough property there to do all this and not affect the neighbors. So that's my only comments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bond?
Doesn't Akabor normally approve the lighting plans?
Yes.
They do and we do.
Right. So, but I mean, if they already approved it, I mean, I have no issue with it. So that's it.
Okay, I'm just. Cheryl, do you know if ACO board has made comment on their decision in respect to the lighting?
You have the Akabor decision.
Akabor September 17th, number 3. The board found that the lighting on the shed would be by switch lighting only in case of emergency.
Okay.
The hearing was then open to the public. That's the only thing that I see about lighting from Akabor.
If you care to know what that was about, they wanted to know about lights on the rear of the building to make sure that we weren't going to have lights shining in the residents' houses in New Jersey. So the lights at the rear of the building were going to be switched so they could be used for emergency purposes only. We had to do an entire lighting plan for them, which I had to pay a lighting designer to do, to actually sell pole lights at various locations on the property. I'll be very happy to get them to this board. But Akabar has absolutely reviewed them.
Thank you. I'm just looking real quick to see if I see anything. No, okay, and I don't see anything on, but it's not saying it's not there. We can just make that a condition, which is really no problem, okay? All right, I think that, who's that? That was Mr. McCory, or was that Mr. Bond?
It was Bond who asked that question. But
Okay.
I didn't.
Thank you, sir. Okay, I'm gonna open it up to the public. Anybody from the public wish to make any comments on this application? And one more time, does anybody from the public wish to make any comments on this application? All right, hearing none, I'm gonna ask for a motion to close the public session.
Andrews motions to close the public session.
Mr. Andrews, do I have a second? Mr. Mandel seconds. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? None. Okay, the public session is closed. This is in for finals, so I'm I want to reaffirm CEQA. Do I have a motion? to reaffirm CEQA?
Motion to reaffirm secret.
Mr. Mandel, do I have a second?
Young seconds.
Young seconds. Thank you very much. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No opposition. Okay. Make a motion for final with conditions.
Motion for final with conditions.
Mr. Andrews does. Okay, thank you. And conditions are Jane Slavin, December 7th, 2 comments. Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, December 8th, Bruce Peters has 4. Booker Engineering, December 8th, they have 5. Rockland County Department of Planning, November 6th, they have 7. Okay, the applicant, okay, that's all the comments I have. Conditions, I think we want to add in that the applicant has agreed to provide added landscaping to the eastern part of the property. Go ahead, Mr. Dell.
Yes, I think the applicant agreed to extend the proposed evergreen planting to the in an easterly direction to the end of the property line. And that way, you're putting the same thing, there'll be no problem.
Okay, and also the applicant has agreed to resubmit that lighting plan that they had originally proposed to act for. Okay, anything else? No? Okay, do I have a second? Mr. Mandel, seconds?
Second.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No opposition. Okay, Mr. Brenner, you have your final, sir.
Okay, happy holidays to everybody, and everybody
Yes.
stay healthy, and we gotta get through this winter. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay,
Bye.
thank you. Okay, next application is, if it wasn't attached, is PB 2055 is Griffin Site Plan Amendment.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the planning board. Brian Quinn, I'm the attorney for the applicant. I believe the applicant himself, Steve Griffin, is also here. Steve?
Yep, I'm on. Stephen Griffin.
Okay. Steve, you prepared a brief narrative. Why don't you tell the board just what this is?
Sure. We're seeking a final site plan amendment due to some field changes. The biggest one would be the change in the deck, the dimensions, the shape, the location. Other than that, there were some retaining wall shapes that changed on the fly, and as a result, some grade lines changed. We were able to accomplish the overall final grades in the front and the back, but as it transitioned, it was affected slightly. So just seeking amendment to the original site plan decision.
Okay, thank you. Let me read the comments. Jane Slavin, December 7th, 2 comments. Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, December 8th, Bruce Peters, 1 comment. Okay, we have a letter from Mike Betterman, Chief Bureau of Fire Prevention, dated November 10th. Fire Prevention has no comments on this project. I have a letter from Alfred I guess, I'm sorry. Okay, he's from Orange and Rockland. Letter reads, in reviewing the plans for 27 Sunrise Lane, Pearl River, it looks like the homeowner is installing or replacing a deck in the back. Would you be able to confirm, ? Based on our maps, the gas line begins on the left side of the house, crosses the front, and enters the right front side. Okay, I'm going to make that as a condition so that you supply that for Orange and Rockland. I also have a letter, Rockland County Highway Department. Consenting to the Orangetown Planning Board serve as lead agent. The letter from Rockland County Highway is out of this jurisdiction. And I believe that I have. Cheryl, is there anything else?
The EAF,
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. And I have the short EAF dated November 9th, 20. Okay, very good. Okay, I'll open it up to the board. Mr. Young.
No comments, Mr. Chairman, at this time. I'll wait to hear what the public has to say.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Mandel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, you're enlarging the deck from 6 by 16 to 11 by 32, is that correct?
If you include the stairs, it's 13 by 36. The main surface of the deck is 31 by 13.
And the patio, what was the original patio size?
It is the original patio. Just the pavers were lifted, cleaned, reset. A little landing was added to catch the stairs coming off the deck.
So there was really no change in the square footage?
From what we could find, not really. I think we've lost some along the way, but it's pretty much the same.
On your map, do you show where the gas line that Orange and Rockland is talking about is?
It is shown on the No, it's not on the as-built drawing. Orange and Rockland completed the work though, so they should have record to it, but I can provide confirmation.
Okay.
Well, according to them, they don't have the record. So if you can, please get that to them so that they have update their records.
Sure.
That'll be one of the conditions we put in.
Yep.
And which retaining wall was reshaped?
The two on the driveway side, they were, I should say that on both, on the original approved site plan, they were both, they were to be like tiered one right after another. But as you can see on the as-built drawing, the one on the driveway side, there's one wall at the bottom, and then the second wall is actually connected to the driveway and it's holding the driveway up. So it's not so much the shape as it is the proximity to each other. And then on the other side of the house, it was originally going to be two walls tiered. This is just one wall that steps as it goes upgrade.
Okay, no further at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mandel. Mr. Sweeney.
Thank you. All my questions were asked, so I'll reserve my questions till after the public portion.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Dell.
Thank you, sir. My comment is basically the same as Mr. Sweeney's. The proposed changes appear to be de minimis to me, but I would like to hear if there's anybody in the immediate area, contiguous property owners who have other concerns. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Andrews.
I have nothing further.
Thank you, sir. Mr. McCory.
Thank you, Chairman. It looks like just minor changes to a plan that was already approved, so, I got no issues, no comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Bond.
No, everything looks good to me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to open it up to the public. Anybody from the public wish to make any questions or comments on this application? One more time. Anybody from the public wish to make any questions or comments on this application? Okay, hearing none, ask for a motion to close the public.
Motion to close public portion.
Mr. Mandel makes the motion to close it. Do I have a second?
Andrew seconds.
Mr. Andrews, thank you very much. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Any opposed? Seeing none, okay, fine. There's a lot in here, so I'm gonna ask for a motion for lead agent.
Motion for lead agency.
Mr. Mandel, thank you. Do I have, can I have a second for lead agent?
Young seconds.
Mr. Young, second. Thank you very much. Motion for neg deck.
Gotta vote first.
Okay, Mr. Mandel, second.
Yep. You have to vote on lead agency.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Thank you, Mr. Mandel. Okay, all in favor of lead agent? Okay. Any opposed? Seeing none? Okay. Mr. Mandel, thank you very much. A motion for neg deck.
Motion for neg deck.
Mr. Mandel, do I have a second?
Andrew seconds.
Andrew seconds. All in favor? Opposed? None? Okay. A motion- I think we can go right to final because there's really not anything on here. Anybody having a problem with that? Okay. Okay, motion for, looking for a motion for final with conditions?
Motion for final with conditions.
Mr. Mandel, thank you, sir. And conditions are Jane Slavin, December 7th, 2. Environmental Management and Engineering, December 8th, 1. Mike Betterman, Town of Fire Prevention, November 8th, has no comments. I'm putting in this letter from Alfred, I guess it's Gaddi, it's Gaddi from Orange and Rockland. He would like to know exactly where the gas service is on your property. And that's all I have. Do I have a second?
Andrew
Young
seconds.
seconds.
Mr. Young makes second. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No opposition. You got your final. Good luck.
Thank you.
Um,
The next item is me as well, so I just gotta change gears here.
excuse me? I didn't hear that.
I have the next item as well, so I just gotta change.
Oh, okay, all right.
Bear
Very
with
good.
me.
It's PB 20-56. Sansum subdivision.
Okay, Stephen Griffin again, applicant, with Brian there too.
Okay, you want to explain your project, please?
Okay, we've got a 4-lot subdivision in the RG district of Spark Hill. We are proposing 3 additional lots to the existing home that sits at 483 Kings Highway. The plan requires no variances, all lots are conforming.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let me read consultants' reports. Project review, no comment, no project review, but Jane Slavin, December 7th, has 2. Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, Town of Orangetown, December 8th, Bruce Peters has 14. Booker Engineering, December 8th. The applicant has provided significant information to demonstrate that potential significant adverse impacts with respect to drainage can be mitigated. We therefore recommend that the Sansone subdivision be approved for drainage subject to the above project comments, of which there are 8. Rockland County Drainage. Please note that the above reference dated November 6th. The above referenced site is outside the jurisdiction of the Rockland County Drainage. Therefore, a Stream Control Act permit is not required.
Excuse me.
Did somebody say something? All right. Rockland County Sewer District Number 1, December 2nd. 2 comments. Okay, a letter from the Town of Orangetown Office of Recreation and Parks dated December 9th. Review of PB 20-56, the Town of Orangetown Parks and Recreation Departments recommends pursuant to Orangetown zoning code section 21-20.E that the planning board waiver requirements for the reservation of parkland and conditional approval for the payment of $27,000 in lieu of parklands. Okay, I have a letter from Rockland County Highway. They consent to the Town of Orangetown Planning Board serving as lead agent. Orangetown ZBA is no further correspondent. Rockland County Highway, this project is out of our jurisdiction. I have a letter from Grant Parish. They live, they don't say where they live, but they're concerned. And I have to make, they have 4 comments, but they say that, sorry, the 7:30 is not convenient for us. I'm sorry, back. And I also have the short EAF dated October 13th, I think. Okay, Cheryl, anything else?
No, that's it.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'll open it up to the board. Mr. Young.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess we're taking an acre of property here and making it 1 square lot and 3 narrow, smaller lots in a tight area as it is. I'd like to hear what the public and the rest of the board has to say. Okay, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Young.
I said, we're taking a 1 acre lot of land and making adding 3 narrow parcels to it. It's a tight area to begin. That's my only objection to this. I'd like to hear what the rest of the board says.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Okay, Mr. Mandel.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Several questions. On the site plan, page 1, where is driveway for lot number 4? You show a driveway for lot number 2. You show it, and is that, I'm looking at this thing, the McCallum Drive, the driveway, it's very difficult to see from these plans. Where are all the driveways for this location?
Are you I think you're talking page number 2.
I was talking about page number 1, which shows it.
Page number 1 doesn't have any driveways in it. It's just the building.
So it shows the McCallum driveway. Right?
I'm sorry, that's the existing house that you're referring to.
Oh, okay, all right. All right, now, you have.
If you're looking for the proposed lots, it would be on page number 2.
Okay, so I'm looking at now.
In particular, lot number 4, you can kind of see the outline where the proposed construction entrance is.
It doesn't, it's a construction entrance. It doesn't show the actual driveway. And what is that gravel parking area?
That's existing. I think the neighbor on that side of the property on the south side has encroached on this and turned it into an extension of his driveway.
That's gotta be corrected. If it is.
No, it's to be removed. It's existing, but it's not ours.
Okay, so lot number 4 opens up onto Herring Avenue, correct?
Correct.
Okay, lot number 3 also comes out onto Herring?
Correct.
Okay, lot number 1 and 2 come out onto Kings Highway?
Correct.
Okay. I'd like to see a map that shows the locations of the structures or residences on the other side of Herring and Kings Highway to show their driveways to see if if we're going facing driveway to driveway. So I'd like to see a map showing that. I know about the other members of the board. I definitely would like to see that. Are you following what I'm talking about there, sir?
Yeah, I follow.
Okay.
Mr. Mandel, they do show something. I don't know if it's the actual driveway or not, but if you look at the existing lot 2, if you look at the north arrow marker, and if you look right at the bottom of it, it looks like it's showing a driveway. I don't know if in fact that is. And
On the
also
herring side, it is.
on the herring, correct. And if you look down, that basically on the lot line of 3 and 4, if you look directly across it, it shows another, I don't know if that's a curb cut or not, but I believe it is.
Well, I'd like to see a map that shows, it states
Yeah.
that that's the curb cut.
Okay,
What are you looking at? Which page are you looking at, sir?
I'm looking at page 2. I don't know if those are actually curb cuts for the other side or not. I don't know.
That's it. I don't know. I'd like to see that defined.
Yeah, they are. We can identify them.
Okay, good. Thank you very much.
Okay, now, there's a number of trees on that lot. Some very large trees. A couple of them I see that are rotted that have to be taken down. But I'd also like to see as part of the plan to show the number of trees on the lot, which trees are going to be taken down and which trees are going to stay. I don't want to see a clear cut. There's some beautiful old trees there. Is that an okay on that?
The tree removals are called out on the map. What goes and what's planted in its place. If the board requires it, I would do an additional listing of it.
Yes, the listing identifying the type of trees that are going to be taken down, where the trees are, which trees are going to be taken down, which trees are going to stay.
Yeah, it's on page number 1. You can see all of the trees to be removed. Again, if the board requires a list of it, I would do it.
Yeah, I want to see which trees are staying too. A little bit better than that. It's very hard to read at page 1, which is the existing condition. It looks like most of the trees are being taken down. I'd like to see a more defined thing that it's readable. It's very, very light and hard to see as far as I'm concerned. I don't know about the other members of the board. Okay.
No, I agree with you, Mr. Mandel.
Okay. Have you spoken to DEME yet regarding the perk tests?
I haven't. I just received a letter yesterday. I haven't had a chance to speak to them.
Yeah, because they have to witness the perk test, number 1, and they prefer to have them in the spring.
Yeah, I guess that's a new procedure than being witnessed.
No, it's always been the procedure.
This has been here, we've had it for quite a few years. It's been a long time.
Okay, because I've completed perk tests that haven't been witnessed, so it's that's the first one. So
Nothing further at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mandel. Mr. Sweeney.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was muted there for a minute. I just wanted to respond to Mr. Mandel's comment that, Bruce Peters' letter, I presume, are part of the conditions, and it will be upon the applicant to review those with Mr. Peters and make sure that he's satisfied, obviously.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Mr. Sweeney? You're on mute.
muted.
Your mic
Oh,
on.
sorry, I thought
Yep.
I unmuted. I'm sorry. I'm here. Sorry. Thank you. I have a couple of comments, a couple of questions. I do appreciate the effort made to avoid flag lots, make each property have a straight line to the streets. I agree with Mr. Young. It is kind of tight to put 4 lots in this area. which brings me to, I know you said there was no variances required for the lots themselves, they're conforming. I'm wondering if the proposed dwellings on the map 2 would need any variances for the size of the dwellings that you're putting on the drawing.
No, we're proposing conforming lot sizes and conforming homes on the lots.
Okay, thank you. So also, with right now we're talking about a subdivision plan. So it's my understanding that these lots 2, 3, and 4 would have to come back to us when there's actual official plan to develop each individual lot.
I believe that the subdivision would be approved and they would have to go to Akabor for design approval.
No, I'm pretty sure that we would have to see each lot as individual action. We're just approving the lot lines themselves, but the actual each lot developing would have to start with us and then get referred to Akabor, I believe.
Well, the
Can I get a
individual
confirmation on
houses.
that? Yeah, the individual houses.
Yeah, well,
I'm only, go ahead, Brian, I'm sorry.
well, I was just going to point out to the board that this is in the RG zone, which, you know, is you know, the smaller lots are allowed here. Mr. Picola, as the town attorney, is that, you know, what the board would require under these circumstances?
I would defer to Jane whether these individual houses, when they're being built, if they would need to come back.
That is not the standard practice because they are being reviewed now for drainage, which is the most critical part. There's no variances needed for the subdivision. As Mr. Quinn stated, it is conforming to the RG zone. So typically the subdivision is reviewed and approved, and once it receives final, the development of the lot goes to Akabor for each individual lot. However, if the applicant was to come back with houses that were not conforming, then they would have to obtain the required variances.
Sure.
Okay, so you got caught up at the beginning, so just make sure I understand. So if it remains as having 3 new dwellings that are conforming, there's no need, it doesn't require to come back to the planning board. It's only if they try to do something that needs a variance, we would see it again.
Well, it would go to the zoning board if it needs a variance.
But
Right now, the planning board is charged with reviewing the subdivision of the lots. And the drainage is proposed and received, I think, approval to move forward as designed right now. If they deviate from that, or any of the approvals of the plans before you, they would have to come back to the planning board.
okay, I'm glad I asked. That wasn't what I thought was going to happen. Okay, that's all I have for at this time.
If I can just ask Jane, Ms. Slavin, if the planning board so desires, though, can't they require each of these individual future site plan, future houses to come back? Is that a condition that they could make if they wanted to?
Yes, they can. And that has happened with other subdivisions in the past. But for a standard straightforward subdivision, typically it would only go to Akabor. But the planning board could make it a condition.
Let me ask while you're still there. Let me just ask the question because I know we've run into some of these issues in respect to Mr. Peters's statement. It said that he wants his perk test done before we give him final approval. We are just basically right now looking at the subdivision. We're not approving anything other than the subdivision. Am I right? So
that is correct. However, Mr. Peters' concerns are, and we did have this recently, is that if the perk tests fail, then the drainage may not work properly as designed.
okay.
So we have had where other projects had to come back to the planning board for an amendment. So that's why Mr. Peters strongly emphasizes that the final approval shall not happen until the perk tests are completed and approved. And that, yes, it is standard practice that they want one of the town engineers out there to observe the perk test.
Okay, what I'm trying to get to is if we were to give them final, okay? And they still have to perform all this perk test and everything else. All I'm trying to is possibly, if the board agrees, is to save a step so that they don't, let's say we give them, preliminary, they still have to come back for final. But if we give them for final, they can move forward, but they still have to do all the perk tests. They still have to come back for the individual lots. I don't know if legally we can do that. I don't know the legalities on it. The applicant has to do all these steps. We're not sidestepping any steps whatsoever. The whole thing is, can we go ahead and move with this into a final, but they still can't get any further until they do the perk test? Am I making sense? I don't know. Because I'm not an attorney.
Right. Rick, I'll defer to you for that.
Yeah, before they can move ahead, they need to satisfy all the conditions. The perk test is a condition. As even said, if the perk test doesn't match up, they can't move forward because Bruce Peters will never sign off on it.
Right, and we've agreed that Bruce needs to be satisfied, but you've also have your outside consultant, Brooker Engineering, that thinks that, that can work. Obviously, it's going to be subject to Bruce Peters' sign off, but, we would certainly like to avoid the necessity of coming back here if we have conforming lots that satisfy Mr. Peters and the drainage is sufficient.
Okay. Okay, let me go through the rest of the board members, and then we'll get back to that. I want to see how the board feels on this one way. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry, I got out of turn. I don't know who was speaking last. I'm sorry, the board members. Okay, Mr. Sweeney. Okay. Mr. Sweeney, you done? Anything else? Okay, thank you very much. All right, Mr. Dell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think the comments by the board members are absolutely spot on. I realize there are no variances needed from this, from what I can see. I'm particularly concerned about lot number 4, the most southerly lot, in terms of the width of that and the type of house that currently is being proposed. All of these lots seem to be fairly narrow compared to what's in the area, but of course you could always change the configuration of the houses. But in my view, from a planning viewpoint, and obviously we are the planning board, we're supposed to plan, even though this is allowed under the code, I'm not comfortable. I think it should be a 3-lot, not a 4-lot subdivision. Then a lot of these problems would not exist. I also know that it's been precedent, at least to the best of my memory, that if we have problems with these lots, they can come back to us. And we've done it, as Ms. Slavin said, it's a rare occasion, but the nature, the geometry, the fact that it's on 2 streets, and the nature of the lots that are being proposed, and also to the development that's being proposed, the least thing that we should do. But I believe there's a lot of room in lot 4 to save the trees in the southerly portion. I think that you're having quite a bit of grading near the property line, and I believe it's lot number 1. Lot number 3 obviously is like a campus type situation. It's surrounded by the other 2. Also in lot number 4, the least you could do there is mirror the house so that the driveway is not against the southerly property, Mr. Sauter's property. But basically, as a planning viewpoint, I think it's a classic example of 5 pounds in a 3-pound bag, the way it's being presented here. And as such, I have a number of issues with it. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Andrews?
Just have a question. What size house are you planning on putting on these 3 lots approximately?
If you
What's the square footage of the houses?
it doesn't call it out. You'd have to do the math here, but the max floor area is on the bulk table on page 2. So you'd have to take the math, but they're approximately 3,000 square feet of floor area. But if you're talking about livable square footage, that doesn't include the garage, that doesn't include covered front porches. So the net square footage, livable square feet, is 2,300 to 2,400.
That's a pretty big house for the size of the lot that you have there.
Well, it's 30% in this zone.
I understand, but you got to take into consideration the way the lots are laid out. It's a pretty big house. No, that's the only question that I have right now. We'll have to see how it plays out. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Andy, I'll just, Mr. Chairman, Andy, 30% is permitted in the zone. FAR, and the FAR does include all covered spaces. As far as bulk requirements for zoning versus living space, that doesn't apply here. That only applies to real estate sales. So for zoning purposes, the bulk includes roofed over porches. It includes the garage space, but it also includes any accessory structures that are bigger than 100 square feet. So the maximum buildable percentage on these lots permitted is 30%.
Okay. Thank you, Jane.
I want to ask the applicant before I get Mr. Record. I'm looking at the plan, and I don't know if my eyes are deceiving me, but on both page 1 and 2, lot number 4, where it's abutting Herring Avenue, it looks like it says that it's 38.54 foot wide. And I know that can't be right. That's got to be a misprint. It's on both pages. Because that frontage is wider than the back, and the back says 60 feet.
Right. Yeah, that's got to be a typo. I would refer to the bulk table where it says lot width at 76.9.
Yeah, because on both pages, that's not there. Yes, Jane?
Yep.
If you look at the easterlymost property line, it's actually 2 segments. It looks like it's 41 plus 38.
Oh, okay. All right.
Correct.
All right. Okay. Mr. McCory.
Thank you, Chairman. A lot was already said about this. I agree with about overdevelopment, same concerns as Mr. Young, Mr. Dell. While everything seems to fit conforming, there's also, it'd be nice if the developers take into account the effects on the neighbors about getting 4 lots out of 1 piece of property. And it'd be nice if it was broken down into 3 properties where everybody had a room, the house run on top of each other on the neighbor's line. Just be nice every now and then to see a plan that takes the neighbors into concern, not squeezing everything out of the lot. It's not really a question. But, and then according to Bruce Peters' letter, we've got into trouble before trying to move on with these conditions not being met before giving us final. So I think this is far from being considered for final in my eyes. That's the only comments I make. If you just want to address what effect you think it'll have on the neighbors, squeezing out 4 houses where there was 1, and if we can change up the lot lines to make it 3 lots.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Bond.
Wait, I was looking for
Okay, I'm
feedback.
sorry.
I was looking for an answer from the.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, go. I'm sorry. To which part of your question?
Just your feedback on redesigning this that keeps the neighbors happy and pleases members of the boards about not making it too overdeveloped in that area, which a few of us are already shown concerns about.
Yeah, again, I would just state that the lots are conforming for the zone. It's similar to every other house on the street and every other house in the zone.
You got conforming, you have conforming lots and you have, conforming house sizes as well, too. I don't know what comments there are from the neighbors. I didn't receive any kind of comment from any neighbor about this as part of the package, but you haven't opened it up to the public meeting either, then.
Yeah, that's true, Mr. Quinn, but whether it's one person or 100 people, our role is to take into account the neighbors and the effects of any kind of development in our town. But I understand what you're saying. That's my only comments.
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much. Good, Mr. Khan.
I just think if it meets the code and they don't need any variance, we're hard pressed not to approve it, I mean, I know he has to get the perk tests. I fully understand that, but in terms of that he could put 3 houses there or 3 additional houses there, if he has the square footage and he doesn't need any variances, he's entitled to do so. So.
Thank you, sir. Okay, I'm going to open it up to the public. Anybody from the public wish to speak on this project?
I do. Hi.
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Mara Lopresti. I live at 25 Herring Avenue. I know that I'm probably not the only one that wants to speak. To state that the neighbors have not said anything, you actually have a letter from the Grants who do live across the street. So I would live at the other end of the street. My husband would like to know if you've done traffic studies on Herring Avenue. We are one of the smallest streets off of Kings Highway. We are a dead-end street. Put into effect construction trucks and all of that's going to be needed. We already can't really move on this street very well. So we'd like to know if there have been traffic studies done on Herring Avenue, taking into account that there'll be construction vehicles and
simultaneous construction of all 3 houses at once. And the existing.
Just one person at a time, please.
Sorry.
Same person.
We're kind of the same, but he wants to know if that's been taken into effect. The fact that are you going to be building all 3
Right,
homes?
sir, you need to identify yourself if you're going to speak, though. So one person at a time, and you have to identify yourself for the
Sorry.
record. Thank you.
So, same person, Mara Lopresti. So I guess a few questions. Have you taken into account a traffic study, not of Kings Highway, but of Herring Avenue?
The only thing I can say in respect to construction traffic is that there will be additional traffic while the project is being built, while the homes will be built. Once they're being built, then it's going to be back to 2 additional driveways on Kings Highway and 2 additional driveways on Herring. So you're talking minimal additional traffic.
Okay, so that being said, if any of you do realize that Herring is very small, putting construction vehicles on the street and building that many homes, that leaves very little space for the people that do live on this small dead-end street. Also, my husband, well, I'm asking the question, you see 2 driveways on the first lot, the lot number 2, which is the existing home. That home actually has 2 driveways. So will you be getting rid of the driveway off of Kings Highway and leaving the driveway on Herring Avenue, which will then put, instead of 2 new driveways, 3 driveways on the small dead-end street that we are? If you look where it says McAdam Drive, that is actually a driveway. Oh, sorry, that was a question. If you're going to be removing that driveway, because everybody keeps stating that there's only going to be 2 driveways, when in actuality, if you're counting the existing home, that's 3 driveways on Herring.
Steve, had you made a decision about the driveways?
Yeah, the both driveways are not in great shape. I think with the shape of the house, the existing house, the driveway on Kings Highway functions better with the shape of the house. To me, that would be the ideal way to access it.
So you would eliminate the other driveway on Herring?
Are they gonna?
I would consider eliminating really either.
It's really, you have to maintain that.
Okay. So one other question is, do you plan on tearing down the existing home that's there and rebuilding that home? Because that home is in disarray. I mean, we've lived here for a long time now and the home is not in great shape. So are you planning on knocking that home down as well and rebuilding that home?
This proposal shows the house to remain.
So you won't be doing construction on the house that's in disarray? I'm just curious.
Most likely, yes, but it's not a part of this proposal.
Okay. Good. Okay, so most of the homes that are on this street, well, my home, for instance, is 1,700 square feet. Most of the homes on my side of the street are very small, except for the Grants that live on the corner of Herring and Kings Highway. Their home is larger, but you're planning on building homes that are almost two sizes as large as most of the homes on the street. Is that correct?
No, that's not correct. The livable square footage of the house would be anywhere from 300 to 500 square feet larger than, for example, your home, if you're using that as the example. The floor, as explained, the floor area ratio, the maximum coverage that you can have for a lot is 30%, but that does include any covered area. So in our proposals, that would include the garage, that would include a covered front porch. So if, for easy math, if you're talking that they're 3,000 square foot coverage, your livable space is approximately 22 to 2,400 square feet.
Which is much larger
Which is
than,
double than ours.
yeah, which is larger than the homes on this street.
Yeah,
Because
I'm
my
sorry, you said your
home-
house was 1,700.
No, but my home
That's-
includes the porch. That's including the porch and livable space. That's why
Okay, if I may interject right now, we're not discussing the size of the homes right now. We're discussing the subdivision plans.
So let other people ask questions because I know all of our neighbors are on here, but I would highly suggest and recommend that before the board makes a decision, they come out here and they do a highway study on Herring Avenue. We are a very small dead end street.
Okay,
Building
thank you.
4 lots is a lot.
Okay, thank you very much.
Good evening.
Anyone else wish to speak on this?
Yes, good evening. This is
Okay.
Kelsey Prediger of 5 Herring Avenue.
Did
I
you
don't
state your
have-
name and address? I'm sorry, because I have a rough time hearing you.
It's Kelsey Prediger of 5 Herring Avenue. No questions for the board, just a preference to express a preference of a subdivision of 3 versus 4. And as Ms. Lopresti expressed concern, this is not a cul-de-sac. It's a one-way dead-end street. So the logistics of construction traffic and the time duration of the project is of concern. 2 additional houses on Herring Avenue represent 15 to 16% inventory of what currently exists. That's a large addition to the current number of houses. And I disagree with the sizing of lots and square footage of houses. I do think that the proposed square footage of these homes is larger than what currently exists, and the lots are smaller. So preference-wise, I think preference-wise, we would prefer not to see the change, but 3 would be preferred over 4. Just as the gentleman said before, not to put 5 pounds in a 3-pound bag. That's all I wish to say.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else wish to speak on this project?
Hi, I'm Sandy Bond. I'm at 23 Herring Avenue. And I'd like to echo the comments from my two neighbors who have just spoken. Herring Avenue is a very narrow street. Already the garbage truck and the recycle trucks have to back into this street. It's not even just the construction traffic. You're going to be adding people, and if they're going to be single wide driveways, people are going to be parking on the street, which is already the case for numerous houses on this street. And it's very difficult to navigate. Oftentimes when I'm coming from Kings Highway and my neighbors are pulling out of Herring Avenue, I have to yield to them and let them come out. I think it's going to be very dangerous to have traffic parked on the street towards Kings Highway. And I think it's going to overtax a very, very narrow street. So I echo the comments that some kind of study should be done. I'm also concerned about the aesthetics. I grew up in Ramapo, so I've seen what overzoning has done. I've been a resident of Orangetown, and I thought I moved into a mature neighborhood, and now the aesthetics of this neighborhood are going to be completely changed by cramming 4 houses on a single lot. And that's pretty much what I have to say about this project. So
Okay.
I'm definitely opposed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions or comments on this application?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, my name's Pete McGarrigle, and I'm the western neighbor to this proposed development. May I speak?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. So I have a series of comments. I'd like to start off first with, there's a large tree that you can see on page 1 that sits on the property line. It's labeled as a 72-foot maple. I'm concerned that the construction process and the proposed modification to this lot would then pose a risk to my home by having this tree stay as it's shown on the plan. So I would like to point out that it does not seem appropriate to have that level of construction next to the tree as it sits. It's on a significant slope, and that basically puts my house in the target zone if that tree were to fail as a result of this development. So I would request that the site plan include the removal of that tree and remove that risk from my home and also from the proposed home that would be sitting on lot number 2. In addition, I want to highlight that there are some significant inconsistencies with the plan, which was available on the town website. And I'd like to actually comment on Mr. Mandel's comments. There are a number of trees that are not shown on the plan. It is incomplete as currently drawn. There are about 6 trees that are further away from the property line that are not shown on the plan as submitted to the board. In addition, there is a small rock wall between my home and the proposed lot number 2, and that does not appear on the plan, nor did the brush appear, nor does the landscaping appear. And then in summary, there are 3 notes in the plan definition. If you take a look at note number 14, it references a building permit for lot number 2, which is the existing house. And also note number 15 references access to Blauvelt Road for lot number 2. This is inaccurate. And note number 37 references the demolition of the existing structure on lot number 1. In addition, the garage that is currently on lot number 2 appears to stay in the final plan, which would put it across 2 different shared lots. And that's all my comments. Thank you, sir.
Okay, if you look at the garage on between lot number 1 and 3, it shows a garage that is over the property line. And if you also see the notation, it says to be removed.
Yeah, that is correct. But that garage and its placement on lot number 1 is inconsistent with the notes that are in the project plan 14, 15, and 37.
Okay, thank you. Well, it's going to be removed, so I mean, it shouldn't make too much difference. Okay.
It does, sir, because, apologies, sir, if you take the notes as constructed, it actually almost implies that they can remove the home that's in lot number 2 without coming back to the board.
No, they have to get a demolition permit if they were to do that.
That is correct, sir, but the lots appear to be mislabeled on the plan.
The applicant have any comment on that?
Unless you're looking at something I'm not. I thought that you were misspeaking when you were referring to lot number 2. Your property borders lot number 1, as I'm looking at the drawing.
No, sir. I'm sorry, yes, lot number 1, yes.
Yeah, I think you were misspeaking when you were saying it.
Sir, if you look at note number 14 and 15 is referencing the other lot. It also references Blauvelt Street, which is not correct. Blauvelt Road. Note number 15 references Blauvelt Road for lot number 2, so that's incorrect.
Right, that's a typo.
Yeah, as is lot number 14. I'm sorry, as is note number 14. It talks about soil erosion and issuance of a building permit for lot number 2, but lot number 2 is the existing structure, which is the
Right,
old
I think
house.
it's stating that if any work was to be completed there would be a building permit.
Yeah, but then it doesn't reference the demolition of the garage in lot number 1.
The lot number 1 garage, that TBR means to be removed.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else have any questions or comments?
Yes, I do. My name is James.
State your name and your address, please.
Yes, my name is James Slaughter. I live at 6 Herring Avenue. I'm the property adjoining lot number 4. Before you opened it up to public comments, there were at least 4 members of your board that discussed how tight this plan looks and how cramped it looked, and I couldn't have agreed more with those comments, even before you opened it up to the public. There's approximately 10 feet of space between our property line and the proposed house on lot 4, and yet there's almost 20 feet between the property line of lot 3 and lot 4. There's generous space between the houses that are on Deidre Street. We just heard from Mr. McCringle. Their houses show the amount of space there is between their house and the property and the lot we're looking at. And yet,
Sir, these are just a generic building envelope.
I understand, but that's almost, but our house is not shown in this plan. And by not seeing our house, you're not really able to get the full impact of how cramped this is on our property. And I would like to request that these plans be revised and show that. I also think you've got 20 feet between lot 4 and lot 3. You've got 28 feet between lot 3 and lot 2. I don't understand why lot 3 and lot 4 can't move over if you're discussing using the access to Kings Highway as your main driveway into existing house on lot 3. I mean, lot 4 is totally cramped in there, and it's totally infringing on our property. We're butted right up against this.
Okay. Anybody else any questions or comments on this application?
Hi, yes, my name is Janine Bautista. I live at 39 Landram Road. It's across the street from Herring Avenue, and I just wanted to echo the statements made by Mr. Dell and the neighbors. I think that it is cramped and it would affect the quality of life for the neighborhood negatively. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else have any questions or comments on this application?
I would like, I'd like to explore that idea of sort of flipping the layout of the lot of the house and the driveway on lot 4 also. It just seems that that's one way that we could maybe look, maybe 4 can breathe a little easier, but I don't see.
I'm sorry. Who
Sir,
is
you've
speaking,
already-
sir?
I'm sorry.
Who's speaking, sir?
This is James Sauter from,
I understand, sir, you've already spoken on this, and like I said, what you see on the plans are generic building envelopes. They do not necessarily mean that the buildings will come up to those lines. All they're doing is they're demonstrating that a building of that size can fit in that size lot. That's all that they're there for. They're not explaining they're not showing the exact place of the building. All right, sir?
yes, I understand what you're saying, but then what are we responding to then?
Right now, we're discussing the subdivision plan. We're not discussing the homes.
Well, we're discussing the overall,
Mr. Warren, if the subdivision was approved, then they would have the opportunity when the developer has to go to Akabor for the house approvals. That will be where they would bring that stuff up, right? In terms of
Correct.
shifting the house to the right or left or whatever it might be.
Correct. Like I said, this is a generic footprint as to each lot, not the actual building placement. So if they get through this board and they eventually get their final, and they go to Akabor for their actual building site, that's when I think you should, talk to the board at that point and discuss the placement of the building. Is there
Mr.
anybody
Chairman,
else?
if I can jump in a second, Mr. Sweeney,
Sure.
also recall that, I know I mentioned it, and I know Mr. Dell commented too, that I think some of us might be wanting to make a condition of this approval process that these lots would come back to us before being developed.
If the board wishes to do that, we can do that. That's no problem. Okay? Is there anybody else that wishes to speak on this comment? On this project, I'm sorry. Okay, one more time. Anybody else wish to speak on this project? Okay, hearing none, I ask for a motion to close the public.
Motion to close public portion.
Mr. Mandel, do I have a second?
Andrews seconds.
Mr. Andrews, second. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposition? None, okay. We're definitely not gonna do final. That's without discussion. Do we want to give them preliminary so that they can move on and they can develop this more and they can satisfy Mr. Peters's comments? Mr. Dell? Mr. Dell?
Yes, thank you, sir. Just a comment. I strongly feel after hearing everything, particularly from the contiguous property owners, which was also further influences my perceptions, is that 4 lots is too much for this, and 3 would be far preferable. It has to do primarily with the widths of the lots, the way it's configured. Now, they said they may be taking down the house, and I think the house is located, existing house, in such a way that this is probably the most amenable division of the land that you might be able to get out of it. Excuse me, assuming that you wanted to have a 4-lot subdivision. However, I feel at this point, from a planning standpoint, it's overdevelopment, even though it's a question of, you could say it's allowed by code, but I think it's a planning code call at this point. And I would be opposed to having 4 lots. I would like to have 3, and I would like to know what the other members feel. And also too, assuming that the majority of the board wishes to go through with it, we should at least have the conditions that they come back to us, the individual lots. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Okay. Wait, let me go down roll call and find out what the board members feel in respect to changing this from a 4-lot subdivision to a 3-lot.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, son.
Before you do that, can I just make a comment on knocking down the original structure?
Sure.
Right now, the existing structure is not conforming to zoning. If they knock it down, they'll have to build it in conformance with zoning, or they will require a variance. So I want everybody to understand that. They won't be able to build it back in the same place.
Okay, does the applicant have any comment on that?
We have no plans to knock down the existing structure.
Do you have plans to redo the house?
As of right now, I don't have a building permit application in to redo the house. Just depending on how this project works out, I would either redo it myself or at the beginning or the end of the project.
So in any event, Steve, you would be renovating it.
Yes, I'm just not sure whether at the beginning, in the middle, at the end, when it would come.
And
Yes.
they would require the appropriate permits to do so.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, let me go down. Mr. Young, what would you like to see on this, 4 or 3 lots?
I agree with Mr. Dell. I would like to see 3 lots here. But everything is conforming right now, so. But if given my wishes, I would propose 3 lots here instead of 4.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mandel?
I concur with Mr. Dell and Mr. Young. Definitely 3 lots. I drove up and down Herring Avenue, and it's a horror driving up and down, let alone having construction vehicles or other stuff out there. There's quite a few things that need to be done, but I would prefer 3 in this. And when we do any conditions, even if we do give preliminary, there are quite a few conditions that must be added to the listing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Sweeney?
Thank you. Yeah, I agree. I don't think this is ready for preliminary because I don't think the 4-lot plan as drawn is appropriate. And again, I think if we do get to preliminary at some point, I would definitely want to have a condition about revisiting each site individually when it's being developed.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Dell?
Yes, sir. I obviously agree with myself. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Go. Mr. Andrews?
Yeah, I think we should bring it down to 3 lots also.
Thank you, sir.
Or make sure, or have each lot come back to us as they develop it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. McCory?
Thank you, Chairman. I agree with the other board members. This is just, I don't support this plan as drawn up right now. No neighbors support it. And if, developers would take into consideration the effect on the neighbors after they leave, things would be a lot smoother. 3-lot plan would please the neighbors. There'd be more room to play with on the borders of the other houses. So yeah, I don't agree with this plan as presented today. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Bond?
It's in the RG zone, just like those other houses are. I mean, they can build the houses without any variances. So, I mean, we could shift them to the right or the left. I don't have any problem. They have to come back for the to the planning board, and we have to approve the locations and where the houses are going to go. But I mean, we approve flag lots. I mean, how can we not approve something that doesn't need a variance and meets the code? I don't know how you do that, but that's just me.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to ask the applicant if you would consider a continuation and come back with a more, you see how the board feels. The board feels that it's a little bit too tight. I'd like the applicant to maybe, I think it'd be the easiest thing for the applicant is to ask for a continuation, come in with a redesign, and then come back and see us. Okay, because there's a lot of concerns, along with the size, with Bruce Peters, with the perk test. There's a lot of concerns, so I think the board would like to see this all resolved before you went any further.
Yeah, with respect, I am not interested in any plan that has 3 lots instead of 4. And I'm only saying that because per the zone, this is conforming. I'm not asking for anything that any special permission on this. If we want to address that, and then we can go into the perk test.
I think you should come back with the perk test before we go further with this.
So the perk test was a result of an opportunity. Usually a condition of preliminary approval is to perform a perk test. I had equipment on site. I had a good stretch of weather. I did the test. I'm happy to redo it if Bruce feels that he wants it done in the spring. He wants it to be witnessed. No problem. I'm happy to do that. But I was only taking advantage of weather and equipment being on site and doing it.
No, I understand that, but Mr. Peters wants it done.
That's fine. Yeah,
his
that's
way,
fine. I have no issue with that.
Okay, so are you asking for a continuation until you get this done, the perk test done?
No, because the perk test wouldn't have normally been done between preliminary and final anyway.
All right, Tom, what I think he should do is he should make adjustments to the plan and show exactly where the homes are going to be.
So that is on
which way to the right,
number
which way
2.
to the left, and which is the 20-foot side, which is a 10-foot side. They're going to be 15 and 15, whatever the side yards are going to be. And this way we can shift it right, left, whatever. I mean, that seems to be the only shot he's going to have because he heard the board. So I don't know what's I would think you got to do something to try and show us where these homes are going to be, what the square footage of the homes are going to be.
That is on page number 2. The whole actual.
I don't really care what page it's on. I'm just telling you what you need to do. You can either you can choose to listen or not listen. I don't. That's your decision. I'm just trying to give you some advice to come back, put a little more time into the plans.
If I can comment,
how much square footage is going to be, so we know and the neighbors know. Which is going to be the 20-foot side, the 20-foot side, which is going to be 10-foot side, which is going to be 15-foot side. If there's any other improvements you can make, that would be your best bet.
Okay, thanks, Bruce. Rick, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to comment, Mr. Griffin, your choice is to ask for a vote. The board can't make you change the plans. They can't make you turn it into a 3-lot subdivision. But your choice is either to ask for a vote or ask for a continuance and try to clean things up and perhaps address some of the concerns. It seems pretty clear if you ask for a vote, they're going to deny the application. You don't have to turn it into a 3-lot subdivision, but if you can clean it up, perhaps address some of the concerns, you may have a better chance next time. So as I said, there's 2 things you can do. Say, no, I'm not asking for a continuance, vote. I don't know if that makes any sense for you. You're either going to sue based upon the denial, or you're going to have to resubmit a new application and go through the whole process again. So, there were some problems with the plans. Fix those up. Do your best to address some of the concerns. Maybe move the houses in some senses. As I said, you don't have to turn it into a 3-lot subdivision. The board can't force you to do that. You don't have to, but maybe address some of the concerns and some of the problems with the plans, and ask for a continuance and come back and try again. As I said, you've got 2 choices. I think it may be unanimous. I don't know if it's unanimous, but there's certainly a majority, I think, would deny it if you press forward today. So again, the choice is yours. Ask for a vote or ask for a continuance.
It's strictly up to the applicant as to what you do. If you're asking my opinion, I think the easiest way for you would be to ask for a continuation. And then this way you can clean everything up, our concerns, and then you can get back. I don't know if you really want to ask for a vote. I mean, that's up to you. You know, it's your
Yeah,
decision.
no, I understand. I guess I'm just trying to assess what you would like cleaned up. I just responded to Mr. Bond's comments that the second page does show the shapes and all the setback lines of the homes.
Mr. Chairman, if I could maybe assist a little bit here.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Steve, I think you need to listen to the comments and look at the plan again. There are some adjustments that can be made that I think can easily address some of the concerns and might be a more plausible proposal to the board. So there is definitely some adjustments that can be made. And again,
understood.
like Mr. Picola said, no one's telling you have to go to 3 lots. However, take the comments, absorb them, maybe make some adjustments, and come back addressing the comments of the neighbors and the concerns of the board, and clarify. It might be best if you shift some of the layouts a little bit to address some of the comments.
Okay, so at this point, I'll request a continuance.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
yeah, just a couple of things. If he's going to be
I'm
coming
sorry.
back before he ends, the perk test must be completed and witnessed. That's, we've asked that from other things. They have to have drawings that clearly show on the lots, all residents, and opposite the site, the driveways, exactly where the driveways are in the new lots, exactly where the driveways are on Harding and Kings Highway opposite these locations. They have to show which driveway is going to be removed from the original house, because I drove with both driveways. You have to, which one is going to be removed, so that we know which is the true driveway. The plan has to, they have to have another plan that shows all trees, including the size and types. As I noticed there, and one of the neighbors brought up, there are more trees there than the plans show. So we need something that is complete and full. Okay? So that's just my comments there to, if he's gonna come back cleaning up, please add those things.
Okay, thank you. Mr. McCory.
Yeah, just want to add a comment that might help out Mr. Griffin. Conforming with zoning is only one part of planning board review. You know, if you look at the town code 21A, you'll see there's a whole list of things that we have to take into consideration. So it's not just zoning and conforming, there's all about the neighbors and nuances, and just a bit of advice there. Just because it conforms doesn't mean it's an automatic go. You know, there's a lot more we have to consider, and the effect on the neighbors is definitely one of them. So thank you, and then we'll see you again.
Thank you, Mr. McCory. Mr. Dell.
Yes, I would, Mr. Cola knows, we have the option of also pause decking this, declaring that it's not, does not fit in with the existing development. And that would be just one way of getting a relief on this. I think the least the applicant should do is also consider reducing the size of some of the houses, particularly in the area of lot 4. And this is all considerations. We're not obviously here to redesign his plan, but if it had been an up and down vote, you know, I think that I would have been for a pause deck on this. And that would have put it into a different category. So thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you. Do any of the other board members have any comments on it?
Well,
Just
Mr. Chairman,
to show the square footage proposed for each house, you know.
Okay.
When he comes back with the redesign, show the proposed square footage for each home on each lot that he's going to build.
Right. I think if you show on when you come back, if you show the size of the house and the actual layout on the lot, I think it'll answer a lot of the neighbors' questions and concerns. I know it's going to be very difficult. I know right now you have a generic building envelope, but I think Mr. John, one gentleman next to lot 4, he was concerned that you're with 20 feet of his property line. I think if you shift the building, show it a different way, whatever, I think he'd make him a little bit happier. I don't know. You guys have to decide what you want to do on that.
Yeah, I'd be curious. sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Mr. Chair, I was just going to say, appreciate the comments, and we certainly will consider them. It is a conforming subdivision. The size of the house does conform. We have heard the comments, and we'll take it back and we'll see what we might be able to do here.
Okay, thank you very much.
Steve,
Yeah, if
I
may.
interrupted you.
Yeah, in an effort to also resolve an issue here, if instead of page number 2 containing all 4 basically, site plans with landscaping and drainage, if those were individual pages where each home was bigger, I think that would probably help the board to see the home sizes and the effect on the neighbors and everything. And I think that would probably help too with what we were saying about approving each individual home site.
That's going to be, that's your choice.
Yep.
We're not going to do it. That's going to be your choice. I think Ms. Slavin has something to say.
Yeah, Steve, I don't think that putting each lot individually on separate sheets is going to help. It'll be too confusing. However, the scale of sheet 2 could be a larger scale. That would help. There's plenty of space on that sheet that will allow you to go to a larger scale and clarify the information.
Okay.
And if you have any questions about what drawings to submit, please feel free to contact me.
Thank you.
Okay, and again, we're looking for the adjacent driveways and the adjacent buildings so that we can see where all the neighbors are and in respect to what this is. Okay, Mr. Mandel, you have your mic on, anything?
Yeah, this advice to correct those notes that we made, no problem with the notes.
Yes, correct notes.
And thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, you guys all set? So you're asking for a continuation, right?
Yep, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Happy holiday. Merry Christmas. Happy.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Okay. Next item is PB 20-38 Lane Site Plan. Is that you, Mr. Brenner?
No,
Oh, okay. I saw you there, so I didn't know who you were. Is there anybody here from the Lane Site Plan?
Hi,
It's
Stuart
just-
Stroh. Can you hear me?
How you doing? Okay, you want to explain your project, please?
Yeah, good evening. Thanks for hearing the project tonight. The project was previously before the board on October 26th. At that meeting, there was a review that largely concentrated on the number of trees that were being removed from the property. We took those comments under advisement. We revised the plan. I'll very quickly go through a few of the key revisions that were made. The number of existing trees that are proposed to be removed has been reduced by revising the grading in the southeasterly corner of the site. We added some proposed screening along the southerly property line to help screen the property from the industrial park in Rockledge, New Jersey. We revised the driveway by reducing the width of the driveway, and we reduced the size of the proposed turnaround. And there was a roof overhang that had been previously proposed that exceeded the allowable amount, so we reduced that to 18 inches. I've also addressed the previous comments from Mazer Consulting. They wrote an updated letter. I'm sure that we'll go through that letter. And that's a summary of the revisions. We're interested to hear the board's reaction to these revisions that were made in response to the previous review. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll go through the consultant's reports. Office of Building, Zoning, Planning and Administration, Jane Slavin, December 9th. She has 3 concerns. Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, Bruce Peters, December 8th. He has 3.
Do you want me to address those in any way?
Excuse me?
Would you like me to address those comments or?
If you wish, go ahead, sure.
Okay, so I think that the reviews for the comments from Ms. Slavin are all okay. We understand Akabor is required no work to begin until permit is issued. And her third comment is that all the other comments have been addressed. The comments from DEME, we do understand that a stormwater maintenance agreement is required. I thought it had been submitted in draft form. If it wasn't, we'll make sure that it is. And we'll add the required note to the plan.
Good. Thank you. Major letter, November 30th.
So those are two technical comments. I have to get my detail exactly consistent with the drainage report, and I will easily be able to address those comments. It's a matter of adjusting the details to exactly match the drainage report.
Okay, thank you. It says overall, the proposed stormwater management plan meets the intent of the regulations. And therefore, we recommend that the lane re-subdivision lot merger be approved for drainage subject to the above project comments, of which there are two. I have a letter from a note from Suez. No further correspondence is requested for the site. We have a letter from Ed Caplanti, I'm sorry, dated from 1 Scotty Avenue, Palisades, dated October 14th. We have a letter from Jim and Diane Gensel, 2 Scotty Avenue, Palisades, dated October 14th. I have a letter from Michelle Manti, 135 Broad Avenue. A letter from, that's another one from Michelle Manti. I have a letter dated Wednesday, December 9th from, the address is 145 Park Avenue, and it's signed. I don't see a signature on it. It's a handwritten note. Oh, I take it back. It's from, I think it's Doris Berger, Elaine Berger. Okay. I also have letter and pictures from James Benny, dated December 9th. And I believe everything else has been read in. Am I correct, Cheryl?
That's correct.
Thank you very much. Okay, open it up to the board. Mr. Young.
No comments at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Mandel.
Couple of questions on the trees. I see you say you're gonna cut down 46, now you're gonna cut down 40. I have a question. You kept the 6 trees just to the right of it on your site plan. There are 3 other trees you take down there. You see what I'm talking about?
Sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you.
Yeah, I did too, Mr. Mandel. You're very garbled.
How's it now? Better?
Now, same.
No.
What's going on then?
Can you go on your phone and get a hold of Ms. Slavin?
He should call into the meeting if that's the case, because I'm not sure why this happened a few meetings back.
Yes,
I don't know where it.
The same thing happened. Okay, I'll try calling into see if I have the number here.
Okay, I'm gonna get back to you. Let me keep going with the rest of the board members, Mr. Mandel. Mr. Sweeney?
Well, 1 second, Mr. Mandel, you'll have to mute your microphone
Okay.
on your computer before you call in.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll call in. Still garbled?
Yeah, your microphone on your computer is not working, so mute that and use your phone to dial in.
Mr. Sweeney?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to wait. I see some of the names on this call are some of the same as the letters that we're reading, so I'm going to wait to hear what the public has to say.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Dell?
Thank you, sir. Yes, I also would like to hear, obviously, what the contiguous property owners have to say. But in fairness to this applicant, he's only proposing a one-story building. However, there are some things in it that could be corrected. For some reason, the patio proposed looks almost like home plate in a baseball game. And if that was changed slightly, perhaps some more of those trees on the easterly side could be saved. In the southern portion, next to the contiguous New Jersey properties, there's already quite a bit of vegetation, and it is almost like a quasi swamp area. I don't know, I don't think it's within the 100-year floodplain, but it certainly looks close. So I think there are things that could be done with additional screening to make this fit in, because I'm sure the people who are living there were certainly not used to having another house there. And I think things could be done potentially with landscaping. But then again, as I said, I would like to hear what the contiguous property owners have to say. But those two suggestions should be of help. The easterly portion, the patio that sort of resembles a home plate in baseball, and possibly putting in an additional screen. But thank you very much, sir. I want to hear what everyone else has to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Mandel, you there?
Yeah, I'm here now. Do you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Okay,
he is caller 15, just so you know.
Okay, well, I could see him on the screen.
Okay. The question I have for Mr. Stowe, okay, on the side where you kept the 6 trees, just to the right of those, there are 3 other trees that you're taking down. What's the rationale for taking those 3 down?
I think you're referring to the 3 that are very close to each other.
On the west-hand side. The western side of the east side of the property.
Yeah.
Right, that's the one I'm talking about, yes.
So there is some minor grading required in that area to create the drainage around the house itself. So those trees we don't think would survive with the grading that would be required there. I think you're referring to the cluster of 3 that are shown almost touching each other, a 16, an 8, and an 8.
Yeah, that's affirmative.
Yes.
Those are the 3 I'm talking about.
Okay. So.
Okay, there's
sorry, go ahead.
on the west side of the property, okay, all the way to the left-hand side, bordering the Jersey line, you have a tree there you want to take down. It's a 12 M2. What's the rationale on that one?
It's the same thing. We're grading very close to it, and the likelihood that it would survive, we don't think is realistic.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
If I may make a comment, is on those 3 that are clustered together, and you're saying that you're removing them because of regrading. Can you put 3 of them back in the same spot once you're done grading?
We can replace 3 of them there. I'm not sure that's an ideal location for them. There is one closer to the property line that we are saving.
Correct.
And, you know, we were asked to save the cluster in that southeasterly corner, which we did. I did consider placing some more new trees on the line there, but I think that would diminish the benefit of saving the existing trees if we were to plant other trees so close to them. I can look into adding some trees in that area. I think I would prefer possibly a little closer to the property line than in exactly that location.
Okay, that's no problem. Just if you take those 3 out and then some area close by, replace them with the 3, I think the board would be a little bit happier.
I think that we can consider that. I'm sorry, I didn't hear who was speaking. I didn't get who was speaking there.
That's the chairman, Tom Warren.
Okay, thanks, sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, can I just interject here and make a suggestion about the 3 trees? I just want to ask, are those 3 trees, are they pretty much alive? Are they showing any disease or anything like that? Are they pretty healthy?
I'm myself not a tree expert, and I can't tell you that I've specifically looked at those 3 particular trees. So I mean,
let me just make a suggestion. Are those trees going to be on the downhill side of what you're grading?
Those 3 are at somewhat of a higher point. What I would describe that point as a saddle point. If you think of a saddle on a horse, it's somewhat of that. The land comes down to that point from the east, and the land goes down and away from that point, going towards the south and the north. So there's a spot grade there, 41.5, and you see the little arrow that I drew with the D was to demonstrate the direction of the drainage. So the drainage is kind of going away from that 41.5 in both directions.
How high is the grading going to be? How much are you going to build up there?
It's very minor grading. If you look at the 41.5, it's actually cutting a few inches at that point. It's to create a point from which the drainage moves away from the building. So from that point, it moves southerly into the little basin that I'm creating, and to the north, it flows around the house and into the wetlands that are remaining that we're not disturbing.
I guess what I'm getting at is I'd rather not see any trees taken down, but it may be possible to maybe put a well around those 3 trees to protect it from the grading. You could put in, stone or railroad tie or any kind of, they make these paver blocks now. If you well around those trees, that would save the trees. You wouldn't have to build up on the crowns of the trees or anything like that, rather than cut them down and replace them. Those are pretty much mature trees. I hate to see them go. That's like in the wetlands portion they're in.
It is.
I mean, take those trees down, it's not going to help the wetlands. It's going to, those trees will keep it a little bit drier there or whatever. But by planting new ones, you're not going to be planting 8-inch or 16-inch trees.
Yeah, I mean, there are maples within what's delineated as the wetland. They're in the area that we're proposing to fill. This wetland is, to describe it, it is defined as a wetland. it's probably not what you think of in your head when you bring up a visual picture of what a wetland is, but it is defined as a wetland by soil and vegetation. We can consider trying to save those trees if you have a procedure whereby an effort is made to save them and it's not successful, and then replacement trees are planted. That might be the most appropriate way to try to accomplish what you seem to be trying to accomplish here. But I think given the disturbance that is required, there's not a very good likelihood that the maples in a wetland soil are going to have a high rate of survival.
All right, but if you're saying that it's not as wet as what people would imagine, they might be able to survive.
I would say that if it would suit the board to build the small tree well around them and make an effort, we can do that as long as there's a provision that the town has used where if the effort isn't successful, can we replace the trees instead through some process?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't know how the rest of the board would take to that, but I would agree with that. Anything to try and save a tree. Thank you.
We
Okay,
can
thank
add, I'm sorry,
Corey.
if you're amenable to that, we could add some sort of notation that I could work with Ms. Slavin to develop the language on.
Okay, I feel like things should be very able to work with you on that. Okay, Mr. Gray.
Thank you, Chairman. I guess my issues from the beginning have always been the wetlands in the area. I think on the plans, there's 6,750 square feet of wetlands. If you're filling in 4,343 square feet of wetlands. So yeah, I just have concerns that the ability of somebody to buy property in our town full of wetlands, put down a slab, build a house, and then leave all the environmental concerns for the neighbors and the now property owner. And, you know, according to Orangetown, all the streams, ponds, and wetlands should be preserved and so far as possible. So I'm not sure if developing for profit trumps the concerns of this town about, you know, preserving the wetlands. So nothing has changed for me with that concern. So that's no question, just still have major concerns about the ability to just come into town and fill in our wetlands. That's all.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Bond.
No, I don't have anything right now.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to open it up to the public. Anybody from the public wish to speak on this? Ms. Powers, you got to turn your mic on. Okay, you get on your phone? Nothing yet. Nothing.
Yeah, we only have 2 callers and I have them both unmuted and.
Hello, can you hear me on this phone?
Okay, wait, you gotta do one at a
I'm on another phone, will that work?
Okay, Ms. Powers, we can hear you now, okay.
Hello?
Yes,
They can hear you.
Can you hear me?
yes,
Just nod your
yes,
heads.
yes.
Now I can't hear you. Okay, all right.
Tell us
First
what
of
you
all,
want.
My name is Lena Power. I'm here with Jerry Fox at 152 Park Avenue. I realize you went through a number of letters. My email, Super said I emailed it yesterday in plenty of time to make that 12 o'clock deadline of today. And it didn't make it into the record. It's very brief. I'd like to read a couple of points, of which a number of neighbors have expressed some concern. I want to say, first of all, the fact that Mr. Andrews and Mr. McCrory are talking about the wetland is very critical to us right now. Because when that wetland is filled in and the trees are cut down, this small habitat is destroyed.
We'll be able to hear.
And what is lost is breathing. Anything.
We lost you.
Yeah. Not sure what's going on, what happened there, but somehow it cut out. Can't hear you.
Okay, is there anybody else?
You should be able to hear me now. Can you hear me now?
Okay, there it is.
Okay, I am so sorry. I don't know why this keeps doing this. Okay, so anyway, I'm grateful for your attention with regard to the wetland. The stormwater management system and operations. How many individual homes in Orangetown are required to have this type of a plan? That's one question I have. It seems that the onus on maintaining this falls to the inspector. In the plan, a number of times we reference the inspector. Who is the inspector? And is in this extensive plan, is the homeowner, this new homeowner, supposed to manage the catch basins, manholes, field inlets, and piping, as well as the outlet control structure? And I also want to know what town department is responsible for compliance and enforcement of this elaborate plan. Can you tell me?
Yes, I can. Okay.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
I belong to an organization, American Legion, and we have the same type of system in. And I got it from Bruce Peters for the Department of Environmental Management and Engineering. And he said that I had to get a hydraulic engineer, a civil engineer, to come down, inspect the manholes. The manholes had to be removed at my cost. And if they had to be pumped out at my cost. So everything in the retention system is at my cost. It does not affect the town whatsoever. But the town required that it be inspected once a year.
Okay, so are you saying this is the VFW hall? This is a commercial enterprise or a nonprofit enterprise? Is that what you're talking about? Okay, my question is, how many private homes are required to have this type of a extensive, elaborate maintenance plan? Is this common? I just don't know. I'm wondering.
I don't know either, but if they are required by the drainage department, they have to put it in. They have to maintain it.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll move on from that. On the construction notes, there seems to be no provision to repair or replace damage at the developer's expense to Park Avenue, which is an undedicated town road, also a small road. And I know you were talking about Herring tonight, so you know what a small road, what kind of a road we're talking about. Also, the proposed structure at 2,800 square feet is on one level. And if you look at looking at page 3 of the revised plan, the Benny home, which sits adjacent to it, is nearly 1,000 feet smaller than that home. The homes in the area, 135 Park is 2,000 square feet, 145 Park is 1,200 square feet, 146 Park is 1,600 square feet, we're 1,900 square feet. The adjacent neighbor is at 2,200 square feet. So also, since we're talking about landscaping, in the last meeting, it was really heartening that the board was very insistent on the maintenance of trees. And we were deeply grateful for that because, as we said, we border the Rockley Industrial Park. I took the plan to Mary Ellen LeWarn of Ironwood Design garden design show a certified designer through the New York Botanical Garden, but she is a member of the Shade Tree Commission as well. That's why I'm disappointed that my email, which I did email yesterday and went through, did not make it into the record. Miss Lawarn weighed in on this, and if you will look at the plan on page 3, if you're looking on the south side of the plan, you'll see that the developer has specified 25 arborvitae. They look like little dots going up and down the line. Deer are, according to, I'll read what Miss Lawarn wrote. This is in the email that failed to make it into the record prior to this. Arborvitae are generally eaten by deer. It was thought until recently that they wouldn't eat green giant arborvitae, which is what the developers spec, but that has changed in the last few years. In terms of evergreens that the deer don't eat, your choices are somewhat limited. American holly and Norway spruce, which were referenced earlier, if you remember, when we were talking about the Hawkeye site, I think. Anyway, American holly and Norway spruce are safe and suitable for screening, but should be staggered and not planted in a straight line. And then she goes on to say, recommend planting now, which of course wouldn't happen. And she also states that it's important to specify American holly because deer do eat the other types of holly. Anyway, those are my...
Mrs. Power? Mrs.
Can
Power,
you get to your point?
this letter
Because-
did make it in the record. I read this letter already. This letter is in the
Okay.
record.
Oh, good. Oh, I'm so glad because when you were going through the letters, you never mentioned our name. I'm glad it made it. Yeah. Okay. So that's really where we're at. The house is too big. The lot is too small. It sits on a wetland that was deregulated through a nationwide permit without public input, which of course we know they don't have to have. We were never notified. A number of neighbors, a lot of neighbors are concerned about this. So that's my whole thing.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else wish to speak on this?
Yes, my name is James Benny. I live on 135 Park. I'm the property owner at 125 Park. And I just want to say, Stuart, it looks like, they took the comments from the board from the last meeting and did the landscaping plan. And it looks like, they did a lot of the things that the board requested. Like, for example, on the southeast corner, there was 5 trees I think Mr. Warren was referencing, and they were able to salvage those trees. So they did make an effort to, try to save more trees and, accommodate, the board and the neighbors. I just wanted to point out, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I wasn't seeing a reaction, so I wasn't sure if you could hear me.
We can hear you.
Okay. This property, there's 3 properties, mine and 2 behind, that all abut this lot. They all touch this lot. And I just wanted to point out that none of those folks are writing letters or logging in. They're not concerned or worried about what's going to happen on this lot. Whereas people who live a lot further away, and in my opinion, and I'm not going to say I'm an expert, but in my opinion, they're not going to be affected by this at all. There's, water does not flow uphill. All the drainage systems that were put in when I built my house and when the neighbors built the houses across from me on Scotty Avenue, they put in catch basins there. All of that drainage has been working and it's never backed up. I've never seen water coming out of the catch basins. I've never seen water traveling north on Park Avenue going to people's houses. Everything flows south towards the Jersey into that big drainage ditch on the side of the Jersey property by the industrial park. And there's a big catch basin there. It's full of cattails. And I think that's a part that a lot of people are referencing as a swamp, but it's not this lot. And I know, Mr. McCrory, you had issues from the beginning. You mentioned about the wetlands. You didn't like the way it all went down. But what Stuart said earlier is kind of how I feel about it. Is it's not a wetland like you normally have in your head, where you're thinking of, water up to your ankles, constantly. There's just a few puddles there at this point now. This thing has evolved over the years. I've been looking at it for over 30 years. And it's changed and it changes. But it's what the proposed drainage plan that I see on this plan seems to go along with what I've been observing as the natural drainage flowing off of that property into that drainage ditch and carrying it south to Jersey. Nothing is backing up north, going north. So I just, I think it's a good plan. Obviously I have a financial interest. I bought this lot over 30 years ago, and I'm 70 years old now, and I just thought I'd unload it and do what I got to do for the rest of my life. I'm not going to develop it myself, so that's why I'm selling it to a builder. But I just want to make one other comment too regarding the sewer line. I don't know how you guys are aware, but that sewer line, for years I thought I was going to be able to connect to it, and they denied us the ability to connect to it, stating that it's overtaxed the system. It's at capacity, and I just think it's not proper that the Orangetown Sewer Department allowed Jersey residents and Jersey businesses to connect to this line at the expense of an Orangetown resident who's been paying taxes on this property for over 30 years. He should have had access to it. So just my personal opinion, the Orangetown Sewer Department screwed up here and really didn't leave access for Orangetown residents, which is really not right. So, I mean, it's a problem. I think it devalued the property by not allowing that access, because it would have been an easy access. Gravity feed, easy dump. Now they got to put this whole grinder pump system in to go about 200 feet up the road. It really shouldn't have to be, but the Orangetown Sewer Department, gave away, my share of the sewer line that's adjacent to my property. So
Okay,
that's
thank you
pretty
very
much all
much.
I have to say, and I just wish you guys would approve the plan. I think it's definitely going to improve the neighborhood, and it's going to improve the drainage. And just like I heard all of these complaints, like I said in my letter, 33 years ago when I built, they tried to stop me from everything I did, but my house isn't causing any problems in the neighborhood. And, nobody else's. Everybody else took down trees on their lots. If you look at the lots, they all took down trees. And, nobody has, all these trees and woods all over their lots. So, to complain about this one, I think is a little much. So thank you for your.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else wish to speak on this? One more time, anybody else wish to speak on this project? Okay, hearing none, can I have a motion to close the public session?
Motion to close the public session, Andrews.
Okay, Mr. Andrews makes a motion to close the public session. Do I have a second?
Second, Mr. Mandel.
Mr. Mandel, second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition to closing the public session? Hearing none. None. Okay, let's continue. Who's tapping? Somebody's tapping. I wish they stopped.
Sorry, I think that was myself. I'm sorry.
Okay. This is advertised for preliminary, final. What does the board want to do on this? Mr. Mandel?
I could go for final.
Okay, with conditions. Okay, so, can I have a motion for lead agent?
Motion for lead agent, Andrews.
Mr. Andrews.
Mandel
lead
seconds.
agent. Mandel seconds. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None? Okay. Motion for neg deck.
Young.
Who? Mr. Young,
Young.
motion for neg deck. I'm sorry, Mr. Young. Okay, can I have a second for a neg deck?
Andrews seconds.
Mr. Andrews, second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None
McCrory.
opposed. Okay,
Opposed.
Mr. McCrory.
Due to the environmental concerns of the wetlands.
We can put that into, our conditions that they can do whatever, okay. Okay, so fine. I need a motion for final with conditions. Nobody?
Motion for
Young
final.
puts-
conditions,
Mr. Andrews makes a motion for final with conditions. Okay, conditions are Office of Building, Zoning and Planning, Jane Slavin, December 9th. She has 3. Department of Environmental Management and Engineering, Bruce Peters, December 8th. He has 3. Mazur's letter, November 30th, approving drainage. And that's all. I think, those are the only conditions. Oh, we asked the applicant to, if, in respect to the cluster of 3 trees on the southeast, to try to save them by building a berm around them or some type of water retention or protection for them. If they don't survive, he has agreed that he would replace them. Okay, does anybody else have anything else to say? No? Okay, do I have a second?
Young seconds.
Young seconds, okay. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Mr.
McCrory
McCrory,
opposed.
opposed? Mr. McCrory, are you
Yes,
opposed?
I'm opposed.
Okay,
And Mr. Sweeney, did you have something?
Yeah, I'm opposed as well.
okay, so we have, Mr. Bond can't vote. So we have, Mr. Warren, I vote aye. Mr. Young?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Mandel?
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Sweeney votes nay. Mr. Dell?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Andrews?
Aye.
Thank you, sir. Mr. McCrory votes nay.
No, nay.
Nay, okay, thank you very much. So it's 5-2. Okay, you have your final. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate your time. Happy holidays. Everyone be safe.
Yes, you too. Okay, we have other business, guys. I think if I can find it. Yes. We have to discuss reappointing or reconfirming the service contract for Booker Engineering for doing our drainage engineering. Let me read the letter. Dear Mayor Trust, we look forward to reappointment to serve the town of Orangetown as planning board drainage engineering consultant for the 2021 term. We enjoy working with the town, looking forward to a good relationship for the years to come. And their fees are professional engineer PE is $200 an hour. Associate engineer is $186 an hour. An EIT engineer is $146. Construction field review is $125. CAD draftsman and technicians are $114. Surveying crew or 2-man crew is $211. Crew chief is $154. Instrument man is $109. Licensed surveyor is $185. These basically are about, I'm looking, they're roughly, the principal engineer is up $6. The associate engineer is up $5. The EIT engineer is up $4. The construction review engineer is up $4. The CAD draftsman is up $3. This is all from last year. 2-man survey crew is up $6. Crew chief is up $4. Instrument man is up $3. And a licensed surveyor is up $5. Is there any discussion? Okay, can I have a motion that we recommend that the town reappoint Booker Engineering to do our drainage engineering?
Motion to reappoint.
Mr. Young makes the motion. Do I have a second?
Mendel.
That was Mr. Mandel.
Okay, I'm sorry. Mr. Mandel made the motion. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, do I have a second?
And Young seconds.
And Young second.
Young seconds.
Yes. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposition to it? Okay, fine. Anybody else have anything else? Okay,
Have a Merry Christmas, everybody.
before I close the meeting, I just want to wish everybody a very, very healthy, happy, Merry Christmas and a New Year, okay? Mr. Dell,
And happy
Yes, do we
Hanukkah.
have to?
Happy Hanukkah also.
Minutes?
happy holidays to everybody, okay?
The
And
minutes from the last meeting.
Yes,
Tom,
say-
we need the minutes from last meeting reviewed and approved.
Right.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting?
One question.
Yes.
I had put in a recommendation to amend several of the points in the 800 Park, Bradley Park regarding the traffic study. We didn't recommend it. We required that they redo it. We have somebody else look at the traffic report. And we didn't refer the oil water separator and second item to the zoning board. We required that an oil water separator be put in. I think it might have been items.
I think they agreed to all of that.
Is it in there?
Your suggestions came in after I sent out the decisions to everybody, but I did change it and it will get stamped with your corrections.
Okay.
So Cheryl, you're gonna include Mr. Mandel's comments?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Okay? Anybody else have anything? Joyous and healthy holidays.
You need to
All right.
vote in.
Hanukkah, Merry Christmas.
Oh,
Okay, can I have a motion to close the meeting?
Motion to close.
Okay, Mr. Mandel, a second. Mr. Dell, you didn't do anything yet, so you can second this one. All in favor? Aye, opposed? None. Okay. Guys, ladies.